What's up, Instagram? How we doing? It's Greg here, Fisherman's Headquarters, checking in, say hello. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful evening. Hopefully you guys have been hanging tight, catching some fish. So, just wanted to check in, say hello, see what's going on. I asked for some questions a little bit ago. Some kind of came in, so I'm excited to talk about a few of those. But first, I wanted to touch base and just give you guys a heads up what's going on at Fisherman's Headquarters. Obviously, this is a kind of a crazy time, but we're struggling through it. We're making it happen. Thanks to all my employees and thank you to all of our customers. Thanks to all of our followers as well. Right now, we're open 7 days a week. If you guys are looking for bait, tackle, any essentials, we're here for you. Whether it's in-store or online, love to help you out. So yeah, we're open 7 days a week. We're doing curbside. We're also limiting to 1 to 3 customers at a time to enter into the store, just so you kind of get a lay of the land. Walk up to the front door. It's on nice days. It's open with a cooler there. Quick, easy bunker sales, bait sales right at the door. If you're looking for something more than just bait, just kind of say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and we welcome you in through the back. Like I said, 1 to 3 customers. Everyone's kind of spaced out, comfortably social distanced. Can kind of browse, do your thing at your own time, your own pace. Questions, shopping, browsing, what have you, do what you want. And then when you're ready to rock and roll, quick, easy checkout, out the door and off to the beach to fish or off to the boat or home, whatever your day is having, set up for you. So that's been worked out really, really well for us. We started that for the holiday weekend. I guess Friday was our first day and we rolled through all weekend. It was very, very nice. Certain customers say, hey man, I'll work through the door. Certain customers want to call up on the phone and place an order. Other customers want to stroll in and shop. We just ask that if you're not feeling well, please don't come around. Call us up. We'll try to schedule a delivery of something like that. If you know you've been in contact with somebody, do everybody show the respect to the world that you shouldn't just quarantine. And we just expect the people that aren't sick wouldn't be coming in. But those that might not know, we are requesting masks on everyone just to take an extra safeguard. So yeah, get on to more say fishy topics. Like I mentioned, there's some questions that came in. Some about flukes, some about striped bass. I'm gonna touch on those in a minute. Basically, wanted to first and foremost say that this is my favorite time of year. May into June is a great time for fishing in the central New Jersey area. Fisherman's Headquarters, where I'm at, is on Long Beach Island. I consider that central New Jersey coast or the Jersey Shore. Some may call it South Central New Jersey, but whatever you want to call it. Where we're at, we have a nice, beautiful 18-mile long barrier island. We have a good long stretch of surf. We have a beautiful Barnegat Bay, Manahawkin Bay. The backwaters are great. The inlets are great. And the inshore and offshore fishing is great in the spring. The reason why I say it's my favorite time of year is there's so many different species and there's so many different things happening all at once. Being a saltwater angler on the Jersey Shore right now, you're blessed with a number of different offerings. If you want to dive into fishinglbi.com, that's a blog that I write. There's also some other contributors, and you'll see some action on what's going on. So I'll just touch on a few of those real quick. Sea bass fishing's whatever. It's been a week or so now. It's been open. It's phenomenal. Just had store staffer Pat. He was out today, did awesome. He was fishing with Paul Hartel and I guess a couple friends. They did very, very well. I think he said he was fishing about 30 miles offshore. Other reports coming out of the say mid-shore sea bass grounds were very, very strong. Fluke fishing has also been very good. See guys on the surf catching fluke, guys in the inlet catching fluke, guys in the bay catching fluke. Fluke fishing strong, and it will be right into the summertime season. Striped bassing is very, very good. This is kind of prime time. I'm not saying every day is an epic blitz all out fishing, but right now, late May, early June, great time to striped bass fish. Surf fishing off the beaches of LBI, in the inlet, Barnegat Inlet, Holgate Inlet, great spots to fish. The back bay, there's plenty of striped bass in the bay right now, and along the inshore waters as well. Just today, I heard of a couple really big fish caught. Obviously, the weather's a little bit rough over the weekend. I actually went out on Monday. It was blowing like the hammers of hell, but I got into some really good fishing. I had over 20 bass up to about 18 pounds. I had a charter with Greg Krillman, return client. We have a great time every time we fish, and I knew it was going to be kind of gnarly. The weather told him, hey, it's going to be gnarly, and he was good for it. I was good for it, and went out and had a blast. So as far as that goes, today there's a couple big fish caught. Posted a couple pictures. Josh, regular customer for many years, sent 2 photos in. First fish was like, hey man, I got one on a spoon. Maybe a half hour went by. Got number 2, sent 2 beautiful fish in, both over 40 pounds. There's some really, really good sized fish around right now. We had the new moon just a few days ago. This good fishing is here right now. If you got time to fish, get on it. Don't push this off and say, oh, I'll go tomorrow, I'll go next week, I'll go next month. Now's the time to go. On that fishing front, bluefish. It's been kind of slow all season long, all spring. Finally, we're starting to kick into a little more of an overdrive here, into better gear. Larger bluefish are showing up. It's not big fish everywhere, but there are some bigger fish. A couple messages came in. You'll see a couple posts we threw up there. Shout out to a number of different anglers that sent us the photos. Thank you. Store staffer Max was on it yesterday in the bay, throwing some poppers, got some good fishing. He, again, today at sunset said there was some good fishing. I poked around a little bit in the bay. I personally didn't find him yesterday. I had a local customer just kind of moved to the area, wanted to learn about some of the waters, some of the back bay areas, different ways, how to navigate through the bay, how to get to point A to point B without taking the channel, some different cuts, different spots where I would suggest to fish, different tides and such. So I took him out to kind of do him a little 101, some areas that I run, some areas that I fish. So shout out to a new kind of customer and angler in the area, Walter. I know he's been fishing here for a long time, but just got a boat, just moved down here full time, and definitely excited to show him some areas, and hopefully he catches a bunch of fish in the waters. So yeah, touched on sea bass, touched on fluke, touched on striped bass, touched on bluefish. One thing I didn't mention, weak fish. Not really the most popular species to target. Yesterday, a couple good reports came in though. So it's good to see the tide runners are showing. We normally see those a little more so in earlier May, but those didn't really come, and now we're starting to see them in later May, which is great. Definitely stoked to see them. Once again, store staffer Jordan got a nice one fluking yesterday. Also an angler from Beach Haven, Ted, got one as well. He posted a photo. So it's good to see a couple different photos of some weak fish going around. Definitely look forward to doing a little catch release fishing with the weak fish here in the next couple weeks. Hopefully they stick around all summer. Some other summertime species, blowfish are still here. They're definitely offering some very, very good light tackle fun in Barnegat Bay. There's also some by the Causeway Bridges and also Manahawkin Bay. So if you guys want some details on that, check out fishinglbi.com. That is the blog page that has a fishing report. So I don't really want to go too much about fish reports right now. I wanted to kind of dive into some of these questions that were sent in, and I'll see if I can kind of point you guys in the right direction, kind of help you out. And if you guys have more questions, feel free to throw them in the comments down below there. Love to help you guys out. I guess one thing I did miss when I was just talking about my favorite time of year is one of the other things that happens in the spring is offshore fishing really kicks into high gear. Tuna fishing, shark fishing, now's kind of the time it all fires up. The boys in the Real Innovation just got back in. Captain Jeff, who we had live say a week or so ago, and his first mate Dan were just out. They reported great fishing, yellowfin, bluefin. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Also posted a report on fishinglbi.com recently. There was a report from Chuck Snyder. He was out, got a white marlin, also bluefin, yellowfin. Heard of some tilefish caught already. There's definitely a lot of things going on. So get some more weather windows like we had today and yesterday. Get out there, have some fun, and catch some fish. So let's get into some of these questions. Boom. So start here. So. Mark Mango. This is probably the most in-depth question, so I'm going to put it first. And I'm going to kind of bypass it and throw a little bit of a curveball. So it says best rod for saltwater kayak fishing, stripers, blues, no ocean stuff. So that can be somewhat open-ended. Kayak fishing, you can do a lot of different styles of fishing on a kayak. I'm not sure if he's casting retrieving, if he's trolling, if he's looking to fish spinning gear, looking to fish conventional gear. There are a number of options. There's a number of brands. There's so many different kind of price points. I really don't want to answer the question with kind of one answer. So I'm going to kind of skip it and say Mark, if you're watching this, send another message, fill me with a little more details. If not, I'll message you back when this is over, and try to get dialed in, kind of focused down exactly what you're looking to do. And when I figure out what you're looking to do application-wise, and really even the areas you're looking to fish in the seasons, I can try to pick out either an application-specific option for you, or possibly an all-around kind of alternative that would cover a lot of bases. So I'm going to kind of skip over that one for now. Paulie Walnut says, best way to rig a whole squid for fluke. Personally, what I like to do is make what I call a slider rig. It's one hook snelled, and then it's another hook that's snelled with braided line, and that slides. I got the idea to make the rig from, I believe Spro made a rig called the Boa. I believe it was Boa. I'm not sure if it was Spro or not. But it was basically two snelled hooks, one in front of one another, almost like some people may call a tandem, where you have two hooks snelled in front of one another that are fixed, that don't slide. I like to do the double snell. The front one is snelled with braid, and that allows me to slide that up and down and adjust it. If you hook a fish on that top one, it's going to slide down and jam on that bottom hook, and you're totally fine. It's not that big of a deal. The reason I like that is you can fish short strips, you can fish long strips of meat, say mackerel, bluefish. If you want to fish whole squid, you can also do it there as well. You can put one hook kind of through the top portion of that cone or that body, one hook towards the back end where it opens, and kind of tie it or link together so the eyes and the head and tentacles kind of stay intact. One of the reasons why I like that rig. There are some people that will just put it on a hook and just hook it up to the front. Figure you get short strikes, they're going to take it. Kind of get a little annoying. So, Paulie, if you're looking for information on a slider rig, send a message or stop by. I might be able to walk you through how to tie one. Maybe that's a topic for another live feed. So the real Steven says, what's the best tide to target early season fluke in the bay? So to me, it's one and only. It's outgoing, and it's the middle and end of the outgoing. Reason being, you want the warm water. So you'll find that there's certain days, and it's been the last couple days, we'll have anglers come in and say, oh man, fluke fishing was terrible. Could hardly get a bite. And then another guy will come in and say, oh man, I roasted him yesterday. We had 20 fish. What gives? How does that happen? One guy has nothing and another guy roasts him. And it even gets more confusing when you hear these reports. And when you ask kind of a general location, they're both kind of saying, hey, we're fishing the same areas. But it turns out one's fishing morning, one's fishing afternoon, or vice versa. You got to look at the tides. I did a broadcast earlier, say a month or so ago, and talked about tides. And you have to know water temperatures. Outgoing tide's going to bring you that warm water, and naturally those fish are going to become more active with that warmer water. When you have a warm water situation and the tide changes and all of a sudden you get a cold water kind of drop, you have to expect that bite's going to stop or slow down. It's just the nature of the beast. If you can go into planning and preparation for a fishing trip and know this ahead of time, it's that much more valuable so you can maximize your day. Just a couple cents here. Try to pick out, before you go, a couple different areas that may have different tides. So when you strategically look at your day, you can say, hey, look, I can fish here, I can put an hour or so in, and then I can run back over here, and I still have a little bit more tide left. Could fish over there, and oh wow, I can run back even over here and fish there. And if you can kind of structure your day that way and plan it out, you can actually maximize, say, a 3, 4, 5 hour trip to better effectively target that tide or that warmer water in that section of time. So hopefully that helps. Right now, I would definitely strongly suggest fishing the outgoing tide. Like I said, middle and bottom, it's the warmest water. Next question comes from Hunter DeGray. What's a favorite artificial or fluke? I have to say that my favorite and really the first and foremost is gulp. Anybody who fluke fishes and doesn't use gulp, I'm not sure where you've been, but definitely missing out. As far as one specific gulp, one style, one size, that's a little more difficult. I really have to think it through. And I really wouldn't be able to give you one all season long. I could say, hey, in the ocean, I really like fishing 5 and 6 inch baits. In the bay, I really like 3 and 4 inch baits. Can sometimes fish 5s in the bay, but feel like some of the smaller fish really beat you up and really steal a lot of bait. But I do like the shrimps. I do like a 3, 4 inch shrimp in the bay. Definitely like the 6 inch jig and grubs in the ocean. Other than that, there are some little nooks and crannies where you'll find certain ones work a little better than others. But I think if you stick to a curly tail grub, whether it's the jigging grub or the swim mullet, you're going to catch fish. The white, chartreuse, some guys like pink and glows. There's lots of different colors out there. I think they're all going to catch fish, but definitely white and chartreuse, by far best sellers. I think by far some of the best catchers too. So if you guys do have questions, I'm just scrolling down here to see if there are any. Fire some in. See a couple here. VK101171. Hello all. Long Island, South Shore representing. Rock on, stoked to see some guys from Long Island checking in with us. Next one down, 456 says, what bait do you recommend right now? Clams, question mark. So I would say right now off the beach, if you want to target catching fish, and all you're worried about is, hey, I want to hit the beach, I want to try to catch a fish, fish clam. I'd suggest fishing like a 4.0 or 5.0 hook with clam, and that's probably your best bet to catch something. However, I would strongly suggest fishing bunker right now. Bunker is the local species that's roaming up and down the ocean. The local cast netters, gill netters are catching bunker in the ocean along the beach. These bass that are migrating want some bigger baits, want to eat, they want to get more full. Yes, they will roam around along the beach. They'll pick up clams, they'll pick up crabs. Eric, local angler, spear fisherman, charged me a number of times. He actually sent me a photo today, fish he speared just today, and had a bunch of crabs in its belly. There will be striped bass roaming around the suds, all spring long, all summer long, all fall long. But right now, we're talking right after the new moon, transition from late May into June. If you're hitting the surf and you're not fishing bunker, you're missing out on a potential to catch a classy fish. And if you're going fishing to particularly focus on smaller fish, that's up to you. Clam's the way to go. But if you're trying to catch a bigger fish, you may have never caught a big fish before. Striped bass, we're considering fish in this talk. Right now is the time to fish bunker chunks, bigger chunks of bunker, fish heavier tackle, and try to catch that trophy. 20, 30-pound fish are here. I'm not saying they're blitzing the beach. I'm not saying everyone's catching them, but they're being caught. They're locally. They're here. If you want to catch a big fish, fish bunker chunks, put some time in, fish the tides, research some water, try to fish some cuts, fish some troughs, fish some productive water, and put your time in. You're going to find fish. So 4, 5, 6, as far as bait, my recommendation is bunker. Fish fresh bunker. If you can't find fresh bunker, that sucks. We're doing our best to keep it in stock at all times. I think we've done a really, really good job this season. Some years, maybe it's myself or it's something in the supply. We fail to do that. I think I've been doing a great job, whether I'm driving up to get it from a local cast netter, whether local gill netters are getting it for us. We've been doing a great job keeping fresh bunker in stock. I personally would not suggest fishing frozen bunker. There's not enough meat on the bone that's firm. You got the head and you got that small tail piece. Most of the time that body on frozen bunker is not the best for casting. In that situation, salted clam definitely is good. You can even chunk up some meatier baits, mackerel, mullet, stuff like that. Very, very uncommon, but you could also fish squid off the surf. Striped bass are well known as squid hounds. They do eat squid. It's definitely one of the most infrequently used bait off the surf, but if you can't find bait and you say, hey, I just want to fish a chunk of something, toss it out there, try fishing a whole squid. You might be surprised what you get. VK101171 again asks, any size in the weeks? I'm not going to say they're monster tide runners. I'd say kind of 2 to 4 pounders would be the best generalization. Maybe some 5 pounders in there. Gone Fishing 5 says, how's the tuna fishing? I would say it's very good. There was some very big bluefin caught recently. Had that weather come in, had that weather break. Guys just got out there fishing out at the main canyons. Yellowfin, there's some bluefin, white marlin, tilefish, mentioned it before. Fish are here, get out there. It's only gonna get better. June, July, August, great time to be tuna fishing out of New Jersey. Wilkness, W-I-K, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, but best bucktail brand. Personally, I'm a major fan of Magic Tails. Dante, we had him on live here a couple sessions ago. Hopefully you caught wind of that. He gave his kind of spiel about how he came about, what he does. I can't say more than bucktail. The bucktails that he makes are awesome. All the products he makes are awesome. The Mojos are phenomenal. His bullet style trolling lures, his Who Magics are phenomenal. His Hoochies, his Tog jigs. He makes an awesome lineup of products. Great quality products, good pricing, and a great, great manufacturer. He's local here in New Jersey. If you want to support a small company that makes a very good product and stands behind their product and is made up of anglers that actually fish that make the products, Magitail is my call for that. Steve-O says you should be fishing bunker. So Steve-O is the main guy at the shop fixing reels. If you guys have any questions about reels, Steve-O's dialed in. He's also a passionate bunker chunker. He says fish bunker. See Cedar Run Lures, that's Blake saying tuna fishing's good. Vacay Andrus bucktails for sure. Andrus is awesome. We got Andrus in the shop too. Availability there is difficult. Getting kind of some of that newer style bucktail or newer style variations are definitely gonna be hard. Rich and the Andrus family are definitely more in their traditional ways. Jetty casters, awesome bucktails from them. Their classic ball heads and their flat heads. The beans are very, very good. We stock them, just put an order in last week. We're expecting more to be here this weekend. Hopefully they make it happen. If not, maybe the following week. I would definitely say Andrus is very, very good. Definitely love it. So why Magitails? I kind of mentioned that before. It's a great company. They're very fishy. You catch a lot of fish. They're made with good quality hooks. And you're going to find some variations in the colors that you won't find just from everyone. I guess there's certain people jumping on the bandwagon now. I shouldn't say bandwagon. Maybe that's a kind of a bad way of saying it, but there's a lot of companies now making products that some of these companies were on kind of earlier. Not saying that Magitail's invented anything, but they're, in my opinion, their Magitail, the Game Changer Tog Jig, originally changed the game. Wasn't taking an existing, say, jig head and using it for another purpose. He went out and said, I'm making a tog jig for tog. I'm not taking a lima bean head and people used to do X, Y, and Z with it, use it for tog. And because of that, he customized that and made a very, very good product. His teardrops are phenomenal. I don't think you're gonna find a better light tackle bucktail than the teardrop. His hoochies are off the hook. His mojos are phenomenal. And his Who Magics are phenomenal. So that's why I say fish Magitail, because Dante makes some awesome products, and Dante knows how to fish. He's dialed in, and he's not just going to make garbage. Where are the stripers hitting right now, Gary? I can tell you there are striped bass in the bay, on the sod banks, in the channels, on the flats. I've caught stripers there. Mostly are going to be smaller. There's striped bass in the inlets. There's striped bass on the beach, and there's striped bass out front. Out front, the boats would be trolling. That's where most of the action is, trolling bunker spoons, trolling mojos. But there are guys like bait fishing. A little more difficult, takes a little more experience, takes a little more expertise. One captain, Mike Green, has been dialed in. He's getting numerous 50-pound fish this season. He does every year. He's a big fish magnet. If you want to see those reports on those fish in those different areas, check out fishinglbi.com. You'll definitely check that out. Spot did make a boa rig. So Laura, what's up? So I'll just read that. Laura used to be at the shop. She's now down at in Florida. So I'm stoked to see. She said Spro is the one who made the boa rig. So thank you for the correction on that. That boa rig is that slider rig that I was talking about to fish longer strip baits. Definitely a very, very good rig. Not the most popular, but definitely a very good rig if you want to fish longer strip baits of various lengths. Whether it's a 3-inch, 4-inch, 8-inch bait, you can slide that hook around and adjust it to whatever you want to fish. Does Magitail make a smiling bill bucktail for surf stripers, fluke, etc.? Yes, he does. We stock the smiling bills. We have in stock. They're also listed on our website. Just go in the search bar, type in Magitails. You should find everything there. Got fluke biting on the incoming today, one keeper. That's awesome. Stoked to hear that, Anthony. Kind of curious if it was the beginning of the incoming or if it was the kind of the later part of the incoming. I would assume towards that middle or later part of the incoming, it would be much, much colder, much more of a slow bite. But if it's the beginning of the incoming, you still have that kind of warmer influence from that outgoing tide, and you may have a little bit of more active fish. But maybe you notice the fish turned on or turned off. As we transition into the warmer months, into the warmer water, into June here, you'll see that incoming tide bite will still be, kind of happening. Where right now, being so early in the season, most of the time the incoming tide cuts off the bite. A couple other questions here. What's the best minnow style lure for surf fishing striped bass? So that's from Henry. I would strongly suggest number one. If you say best and you asked best, minnow lure, it's the SP minnow. The Salt Pro minnow from Daiwa is a staple. I fished it long before it was available in America. Had a friend that brought him in from the Japanese market, gave me some, super, super good lure, fell in love with them. We had some awesome Sando runs where you could really see what lure is producing. And if there's 30 guys and everybody's catching fish, but one's out producing, you know, hey, that's the lure they want. And that's kind of what really made me a believer in the SP minnow. I carry them all the time with me. It's one of the most productive lures I have in my arsenal. Some anglers feel like it's cheating, but I fish a lot of SP minnows. If you want to look at some other lures, there are some other lures out there. Yozori makes a great lineup of lures. The Hydro minnow, there's the Crystal minnow. You start looking at bombers. You can look all over the place at different lures, Rapalas, what have you. But I would say the SP minnow from Daiwa, by far hands down number one minnow lure. Best time of day or tide preference for smaller sharks at the beach. So I'm not sure if you're talking like dogfish sharks or if you're starting to look for like the sandbar sharks, the brown sharks, and also looking for, say, these sand tigers. Right now, I'd say that it's going to be somewhat inconsistent looking for those sharks. I'd first start looking in the bay on the outgoing tide in the warmer water. Definitely started looking for warmer water first. And then as the time transitions into the season, you start seeing more fish show up. You see that warmer water kind of sticking around. Then you can kind of stick around and fish that incoming, which is more cold. Cool fishing. So I'm talking poppers having the key for the blues for the spring for me. For anyone who doesn't know, he's dialed in catching some big gator blues in the bay. He's fishing Barnegat Bay. So anybody who wasn't aware of that, definitely check out fishinglbi.com. You'll see some pictures on there. He's definitely on our feed. One of the posts I threw up earlier, I guess yesterday, day before. Nice big gator blue. He was holding up. Wasn't just one. He's caught a bunch of them, so shout out. Definitely keep up the good work there, catching those blues. GIOD says Magtail bucktails are on fire today in the Back Bay. Ocean's still too cold for fluke. Couldn't agree with you more. Stoked to hear that you're catching on Magtails. That's awesome. Ryan Plotkin says, any 401 Calcutta D's left in stock? I believe we do have some, but I would take a look at the Tranks. I'm not sure that you want to go the D route. Tranks is a pretty sweet reel. It's low profile. I think it's a little more comfortable. Maybe there's some specifics. There's a reasons why you want it. We could talk about that if you want. Reach out. But I would personally lean towards the Tranks, in my opinion, before the classic, round style Calcutta D. Just my opinion. MKV Mikey says, what are the optimal bucktail weights for fishing the bay and ocean? So ocean can be iffy. It changes from day to day with conditions, depending how deep you're fishing. But if you want to talk about the bay, most of the time, 3/8, half ounce, 3/4, 5/8 range in there is what you need. A lot of times in the bay, you don't need an ounce or more. If you are fishing that heavy, you may be fishing too heavy of tackle. It might be the leader in the line you're fishing that your setup is. Maybe your rod and reel setup is too heavy. If you scale down to light tackle approach, you should be able to fish some light jigs, and it's going to be a much, much better presentation. It's kind of sometimes what sets apart one boat from another boat, who's catching, who's not. Just my 2 cents. If you are fishing and you need 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces to hold in the bay, and you're only fishing, say, 8 to 10 foot of water, there's something wrong. You might be fishing some more swift current, might be fishing some deeper sections of the bay. There are some areas where you've got in the bay, there's 20, 30 foot of water in some areas, some even more, depending if you're on the north end or south end LBI, close to the inlets, or further in the back by the bridges. Obviously, shallower by the bridges and whatnot. But before I dive too far into this, bay, 1/4 to 1 ounce mostly, under 1 ounce. In the ocean, most of the time you're fishing 1 to 4 ounces. Rough days, you might need 4, 6, 8 ounces. But I really try to stay away from those heavier weights. I like to fish the lightest bucktail as possible. Most of the time in the ocean, fishing 2, 3, 4 ounces. Say most poppers probably 1.5, 2, 3. So 4, 5, 6 is appreciate the great advice. Thank you for watching. Thank you. I hope I could help you. If you ever need help, reach out, send a message, give us a call, stop in the shop. So before I dive in too far into these questions here, I'm not sure if I'm all the way at the bottom or not. Courtland Line says, when's the best time to fly fish LBI? Right now is the time. Small blues, some big blues, there's weak fish around, bluefish of all sizes from micros to big boys. Right now is the time. I would definitely say if you want to fly fish, now is the time. Best 5-rod, I assume that's spread for tuna. I would have to say you're going to want to run 2 side tracker bars, and you're going to want to run 3 ballyhoo. Ballyhoo on both long riggers, splash bars or side trackers kind of inside. Those will walk out and get kind of in front of those long riggers. The long riggers, as the boat kind of does its thing and dances around, it's going to get those long riggers kind of moving a little more. And then fish the 5th one down the chute, kind of a way back shotgun. That'd be kind of a quick and easy 5-rod spread. If you want to switch things up, yeah, you could maybe put a bird in the middle there. You could maybe put a crazy 8 chain, a little bird chain, switch it out a little bit. But 5-rod spread, definitely want bars, definitely want ballyhoo. You got those 2 things, you're going to be in the fish. Are you guys carrying the new 4-inch gulp? So yes, we have some new gulps in stock. We don't have the full spread. We had to dip and dive into our distribution sources. Our Penn direct order has still not shown. I don't have any idea what the holdup is there. They're absolutely just a lost cause there. I think Penn has their head so far up their ass, they don't know what they're doing. I say Penn, but Berkeley, Pure Fishing, now they own Van Staal. It's all of them together. Absolute bunch of jokesters. Don't mean to throw them under the bus, but they just claim and say they're shipping stuff and they're not doing anything. Blame it on COVID, blame it on this, blame it on that. Whatever it is, it's a joke. They're not shipping. If someone is getting product, they are shipping, great. They're probably shipping everybody's orders direct to consumers, making the most out of margins and cutting the throats of independent retailers like myself and other tackle shops, but that's just my 2 cents. If you want gulp though, we've got it. Thank you so much to all the local suppliers in the area that have helped us out and have helped a number of tackle shops. Those guys are kind of the unsung heroes in the tackle world. They're really the ones that make it happen when there's kind of this hot bite. Fishing is very, very trendy, more trendy now than ever. It seems like it's either feast or famine. Either you have all this tackle and no one wants it, or you don't have any tackle and everybody wants what you don't have. And that's when those suppliers really come in, and just want to give those guys some love. So just a point or two about that. I had to do a little venting. So Dark Seas says charter recommendations, and then right underneath that, got the Shaka from Pat at Forever 2 Worlds. Give Pat a shout. See what Pat's up to. He's out of Rockaway Beach. He's not local to LBI. He's an hour and a half away. But Pat's the man. Pat's dialed in. Pat's on the meat, whether he's striper fishing, whether he's shark fishing, whether he's tuna fishing. Dark Seas 2188. Give Pat Forever 2 Worlds a shout. If he's booked, you want to figure something out. Send a direct message to us. We can try to help you out with some local captains that are running, that are tuna fishing. I'm going to kind of skip over some of these questions here. And, well, one's a good one. Ammo Reload says, how does order pickup process work? So there's a couple ways you can do this. If you want to place an order online, you're going to be in a queue of about 40 to 50 orders. That's about what's coming in every day right now. A couple guys at the shop are doing a great job keeping up on that. We've been somewhat on top of it on a daily basis, haven't been really backed up. So you place an order online, but the problem is, just because an order comes in right now, let's say at 9 o'clock, we can't jump you ahead of somebody that placed the order at 7 or 6 or 5 o'clock or that night. So I would strongly suggest not placing it online unless you want it shipped. If you place an order at 1 o'clock online and expect to pick it up at 1:30 or 2 o'clock that same day, it's doable, but it just kind of puts a kink in things. It's much, much easier for someone to pick up the phone and say, hey guys, what's happening? My name's Johnny and I'm looking for some tackle. This is what I want. A, B, C. Can you tell me what you got? Can you pull it aside for me? I'll be there in a half hour. Quick and easy. Johnny shows at the door. Yo, bro, it's Johnny. Got that order for me? Yeah, here you go. You check it out. Cool, this is what I want. Here's my credit card. Here's my cash. Done deal. Go fishing. That helps out also if there's a little bit of a line. However, if you don't know what you want to browse, come to the shop, stop in, come to the front door, say hello, have your mask on, say, hey guys, can I come in? I want to check out a few things. We'll welcome you in, we'll help you out. You can spend as much time as you want, finding whatever you want, asking questions. We'll work, one-to-one on a sales process, question and answers. We're here for you. If there's something that may be easier for you, we're all for it. Let us know what works for you and we'll make it happen. Just want to jump back in these messages that I had over here before and say, NJ Fisherman 821, can I bring a VSX 200 in for service? Anybody isn't aware, VSX is a Van Staal X Series. Yes, we're a warranty center. We're New Jersey's exclusive Van Staal warranty center. We are open, like I said, daily. You can drop off or you can ship in reels. I'd say right now the wait's about 2 weeks. We got a large influx of reels recently. Shop's been jamming, pretty busy. A little bit backed up on reel service in the Van Staal side of things, but that's kind of normal. I wouldn't say I don't want to blame it on, say the COVID thing, quarantine, this, that. It's just this time of year, everyone's kind of coming out, getting their gear ready to go, going fishing, kind of somewhat late to the party, getting things ready at this point. You got to kind of wait in line. I hate to say it, but it kind of sucks, but you should have been in maybe a week or two earlier, and it probably much quicker. A month or two earlier would have been much, much quicker. So hate to say it, you want to drop your reels off, we'd love to help you out, but it's going to be 2 weeks probably. Could possibly be a little bit more. But if you want to get them in, now's the time to get in line. First in, first out. Next question comes in from Joey DeGreg. He says, should I go for fluke or stripers tomorrow? That's up to you. Maybe you do both. Maybe you hit a little stripers and hit a little fluke, a little half and half. Maybe flip a coin. Personally, I'm more of a striped bass fisherman than a fluke angler. So I would say striped bass. I just personally like fishing lures, poppers, swimming plugs, bucktails, and getting striped bass to bite. I like ripping them off the hook and tossing them back in and catching another one and doing the catch release thing back and forth. Fluke fishing's cool and all, but I'm just not as passionate about fluking. I kind of wait till after May is over, even sometimes into June when that striped bass bite kind of dies out, blue fishing kind of dies out, and then I kind of start getting to that fluke game, kind of in the dog days of summer. Yes, it's kind of when the fluke is somewhat slower. The early season fluke fishing and the late season fluke fishing is really the best. And I get that, but it's just something about early season fluke fishing. It's cool, it's great, but I just hate drifting the bays and getting run over by a bunch of boats. At least in the summertime, there's 100 boats drifting and you kind of join the party and everybody's a bunch of speed bumps and people kind of slow down a little bit. But I would say striper fish, man, just my opinion. But if you love fluking, you like kind of drift and dream, or you're into like kind of, doing those tap dance, jigging, fishing the shallow waters in the bay, whatever, floats your boat, have at it. Next question comes from Bob Witt, bassist. So stoked to see Bob jamming the bass. I play the bass too. Bass is a good thing to play. So he says, can you smell a bluefish blitz or am I crazy? Definitely not crazy, man. You can definitely smell fish often. It's one of the senses when I'm running up the beach in the boat that really tees off, kind of, hey man, I should stop, I should settle down, I should look around, I can kind of prospect this area, see what's going on. Start looking at my depth finder a little bit, see what's coming up on the sounder. You'll see slicks in the water sometimes when you're moving, when you're running, but a lot of times you'll smell stuff first. It can be along the beach, you're running inshore, it can be offshore. It's amazing what your extra sense of smell can offer. Yes, your eyesight's great to find slicks, to find weed lines, to see active, say, birds, say active whales, something like that. But your nose should never be overlooked. Don't second guess it. If you smell some fishy stuff, put some time in there, check it out. Definitely put a little extra, emphasis on that area. It could be on the beach. There's so many times I've walked up to the beach to check the waves to go surf, and I'll smell bait, I'll smell fish. I'm like, I'm heading home. Screw surfing. I'm gonna grab my rod, head up here and do some plugging for a little bit. So many times offshore, you're running, you smell something, you stop. Next thing you know, you start seeing stuff on the screen, and you're 5, 6, 8, sometimes 10 miles short, and you're into fish. So definitely, if you smell something, fish, don't overlook that. As far as a blitz, I think you're going to smell, if you see bluefish feeding on bait or getting active, fish put off that slime coat. That slime is really what smells. It's the proteins. Sometimes that's also what gives that foaminess to the water. But yeah, if you're smelling something, there's probably fish there, or there were fish there. Or it was something like bait moved through and left some slime behind and it's getting pushed in. So definitely follow your senses. T. says, any good bass caught off the beach, actually says off the surf, is everyone catching a lot of skates and sharks? So definitely skates and sharks. Sharks would be dogfish. Would be common. And I wouldn't be discouraged if you catch some dogfish when you're chunking bunker. I mean, you're fishing baits. To me, I think dogfish and I think striped bass somewhat migrate together. A lot of times in the spring and the fall, where the dogfish are is where the bait is, and where the bait is where the striped bass are. A lot of times they're in similar water temperatures too. So I definitely would not overlook a specific spot or a specific section of tide just because you're catching a couple dogfish. I suggest fishing through it, kind of weed through them, keep fishing, and you'll be surprised what you catch. So as far as the first part of that question, are any good bass being caught off the beach? And I would say yes. I haven't heard of any in the last couple of days, really, really big fish, but some good fish in the 30-inch range. Stuart Stafford Jordan, it's probably the 10th time I mentioned him on this broadcast. He fishes hard, he's dialed, he knows what he's doing. Stop by the shop, ask for him, ask him some questions. He knows what he's doing. He'd love to help you out. He just had a 37-inch bass the other night. I know there's other guys that are chunking and catching fish too. It's not like there was just one and done, one fish and only one fish. There are fish on the beach. There are some bluefish. There's some striped bass. I would say more plentiful, more consistent are the smaller fish, say 28-inch, 30-inch, and kind of under. But there are definitely some 30-inch plus fish, and I'm sure there's going to be a 40-inch plus fish caught real soon. On a previous post, I did mention there was a very large fish caught in a lure. This was maybe a week or two ago. There's been big fish caught, so don't want to make it sound like there's no big fish around. Bill messages and says, incoming or outgoing for inlet jetty fluke? Thanks. I was just fishing the outgoing tide, just my 2 cents. Yes, you can fish the incoming. I think the outgoing is the way to do it. If you're specifically fluke fishing, cool. If you're also going to throw some lures to striped bass, and also maybe some bluefish, you can kind of rethink some of these ideas. I found that the incoming tide for me has been best with the bluefish this year, smaller bluefish, when normally it's the outgoing, it's kind of been the opposite for me. Not sure why, but that's just how it's been for me. And it's been a couple trips, so it wasn't just one and only one that happened that way. I was expecting striped bass at this specific section of tide, beginning of the incoming, and kind of into the meat of the incoming tide. And I couldn't have been more wrong. It was loaded with small bluefish. And when I say small, talking cocktails, 1 to 3 pounders is kind of been most consistent for me. The bigger fish, more of these tailors and say bluefish, choppers and whatnot, however you want to get into these classifications of sizes, more so in the bay, in the shallows, Barnegat Bay, wide open middle of the bay there, fishing some of the shallows, you'll find some bigger bluefish. But to answer that question, Bill, sorry I got off topic, outgoing tide is my suggestion. However, you can fish incoming and catch fluke on the incoming tide. Let me give a quick look here, make sure I didn't forget anybody's message. And I think I knocked every one of them out. So maybe next time I will talk about that slider rig. Maybe I'll talk about a couple rigs. Actually write that down here. So do a maybe a rig talk next time. If you guys have any questions about rigs or knots, send them in. Maybe I can share a little bit of love next time. Kind of scrolling through some of these messages here. Jack Keating says 22 and 26 inch on Magic Tail in the last week. So that's awesome news. Magic Tail is awesome products. And I believe Jack is now at Magic Tails working with Dante, making some great stuff. So stoked to hear that. Chase 510 says backing, does it matter what pound? Henry says, what's your favorite braid? I personally like Cortland Master Braid. Last broadcast, not sure if you caught it or not, we had Brooks, main man from Cortland. He's guy makes all the magic happen there. He's in the sales, not really in the engineering manufacturing, but he knows braided line better than anybody. He gave a lowdown on some really detailed stuff. If you missed that, it's a bummer. However, there will be an archived version of that going live on our YouTube page tonight. I kind of slacked off before I jumped on here tonight. I said, oh man, I forgot to post that. So sorry about that. I will get that on Fisherman's Headquarters YouTube page. We'll have that. I want to say it was episode maybe 12 or 13. Kind of lost track of the numbers, but that will be up tonight at some point. Give me a couple hours. Hopefully this one will also be on there. So get you there. So as far as my favorite braid, Cortland Master Braid is my choice. I've tried other braids. I personally settled on Cortland Master Braid for two reasons: quality and price. I spool a lot of line at the shop. Everybody asks for some of these big name brands. To be honest with you, a lot of that line is garbage in my opinion. You'll find splices, thin spots, thick spots, inconsistencies, very, very common. It's something that I just don't like. I don't like seeing. When I spool a customer's reel with it, I end up cutting it. I end up respooling it. We throw a lot of line away. These issues are much, much less common now in today's day in 2020 than they were a few years back. A few years back, it was an absolute disaster. That's when I lost all faith in them. Haven't gone back. So sorry to those brands. You spend a lot of money advertising. Everybody wants to fish your stuff, but I won't go near it with a 10-foot stick. As far as backing, the question from Chase 510, a great point of reference for me is to match up the diameters. You don't want a super, super thick backing and a thin braid on top, or vice versa. The reason you want to match up diameters is so when you do a line-to-line knot, they're somewhat consistent. If you tie a very large knot and you have a large diameter backing, what happens is when you're putting the line on the reel, it actually hangs up and kind of gets fouled around that knot because there's this lump. This knot's a lump on the spool. And then when you're using the line, it's coming off, whether you're casting it or a fish is pulling it off or you're stripping it, that line that's exiting actually fouls up and hangs on that knot and sometimes will pop and break. So it's something I see very common when somebody puts too heavy a backing on and I'm stripping a reel with speed on a machine and it fouls up and hangs. But it will happen on a cast and it will happen on a fish. Hopefully it's never happened to you. If you properly spool a reel and match up that backing correctly to the diameter and that pound test of braid, you should not have that problem, but it is an issue that happens. People that are inexperienced with spooling reels, inexperienced with spooling braid, will very, very commonly put too heavy of backing on, which gives you too big of a knot, which then can eventually you run the risk of having that issue that I mentioned. So let me scroll down here a little bit more. John Ritchie says, Big Blue showing up in the back bays, question mark. Yes, I'm not saying it's epic fishing. I'm not saying they're blitzing. I'm not saying it's like it was a couple years ago, but there are some bigger bluefish showing up. Check out fishingalbay.com. You'll see a little bit of some names, some photographs. I don't just make stuff up. There's some reports there and also on our Instagram story on here and also our main featured posts. You'll see some love there. Any new Lamagos has come in? Yeah, we are seeing some carbon surfs this week. And we're going to see also some night shifts this week. I'm thinking they'll be here Friday. So Atomic BBQ, if you want to check out some new Lammies, we've got the GSBs, we've got some of the staples there. The inshore rods, the Black Series, have been on back order for quite some time. Not sure what the holdup there is. I'm sure it's another COVID-19 excuse. But hopefully we'll see those sometime soon. Mark Boop says, I'll be in for a flounder setup. Super stoked to help you out. Come in, any questions, love to help you out. Love to gear you up. Love to get you on some fish. Please archive this for sure. I will. Thank you for the love. Main issue here is Instagram sometimes cuts out in the middle of it. I'm not sure. A little bit back, you might have saw a phone call came in. I canceled it. I thought I lost the live feed, but luckily it was still going. So sometimes little glitches happen like that. My phone's on Do Not Disturb, but somehow it happens. Sometimes at the end, I hit end session, and then it just crashes and everything disappears. Sometimes it allows me to save it. So as long as I can successfully save it, or sometimes I have this backdoor way of downloading it once it's published, as long as that's available to do, I've been archiving them all. I'd say so far about 6 to 8 sessions were lost. Total bummer. Of course, they were some of the better ones, but just all the more reason for me to do them again. So I got notes of those, and I'm not going to redo them until it's been, say, a month or two. So kind of gives a respect for people that were on the live feed to not kind of see that same information regurgitated again. I want to kind of keep this fresh. Speaking of keeping things fresh, if you've got any topics, you have any concerns, any issues, topics you want to talk about, you want to hear talk about, you want me to detail, you want me to share information that I think is important, feel free to message, whether it's a comment on here, whether it's a direct message. Hell, you can send an email, you can call up on the phone and say, hey, love the feeds, here's something I'd like to hear about. Definitely shout out to all local customers that have been coming to the shop, giving some love. Definitely hearing some really, really good things. A lot of people that have been checking out the feed are kind of loving it, saying thank you, kind of giving a thumbs up. So thumbs up back to you guys. Appreciate, kind of logging on, spending some time with me here. If I was doing this and I had 2 followers and I wasn't getting feedback, trust me, I would have been done with this a long time ago. But all the love is greatly appreciated. Definitely like the back and forth. Definitely keeps me on my toes, keeps me thinking. And I definitely hope it's helping you guys too. So C Rich 9 says, how's the surf been? Definitely some striped bass around, definitely some bluefish around, definitely some fluke around. Check out fishingalabad.com, fishing report blog. We keep it as up to date as possible. That's going to get you dialed in with what's going on the beach. Also, check out our Facebook page. Check out our YouTube page. I'm trying to, as much as possible on a daily basis, on my way when I leave my house and I drive to work, I'm trying to stop at the beach and shoot a 1 to 2 minute video saying, what's up? Here is the surf. This is what's going on. This is what the beach looks like. This is kind of some updates on what's going on. Is the water dirty? Is the tide low, high? Is it incoming, outgoing? Is there a big sweep? Which will kind of help you in terms of preparation of, if it's weedy, should I go? Should I not? Is the water clean? Should I fish bunker clam? Should I be fishing heavyweights or lightweights? Do I need to bring my chunking rod, my 8 and bait rod, or am I bringing my lighter bait rod? Kind of talk a little about the swell forecast so you kind of know what's coming. Kind of giving some little pointers in a somewhat condensed fashion. I don't want to sit here and say do an hour broadcast on the beach. I don't think anyone wants to watch that. With all these questions, it kind of turns into an hour. But on the surf, it's kind of a quick and easy 1, 2, 3. Here's some details. Have a great day kind of thing. So if you guys want to check that out, you guys want to check it out on a daily basis, I'm trying to do that. Subscribe to our YouTube page, Fisherman's Headquarters. I'm also trying to share them on our Facebook page as well. Maybe you've seen them, maybe you haven't. If you have seen them and you like them, please give a comment, please give a thumbs up. If I don't get much love, I'll cut them off. So I hope you guys like them. Mullet run came early. So that's Freddie. What's up, Freddie? Tim Bopan, spoon for trolling tuna, straight mono or braid hollow mono top shot? Good question. So that's a very good question. Classic rigging would be straight mono. Really depends on what you're doing and what you want to do and what you're targeting to dictate the answer and say, do you want to do more with the tackle you have? And if you do, you want to fish higher drags and catch bigger fish, you could go to hollow core. Hollow core Spectre is going to open up a number of options to an offshore angler. One, it allows you to fish much, much heavier top shots. So most of the time, guys that want to catch bigger fish are focused on the end game. And the end game is when the fish is kind of tired out, but it's kind of a game of inches. And you're not making up any line. The fish isn't gaining and you're not gaining. It's kind of like it's a back and forth tug of war. And anglers that want to fish heavier leaders do so mainly because they want to be able to put more heat on the fish during the fight. And this helps out in the end game process to be able to put more heat on that fish and to turn a fish and get him to the boat quicker. When you fish heavier line, you lose capacity. So in order to battle or counteract that, you can fish hollow core. Hollow core Spectre, like 130 pound from C16, which is Cortland, is a very, very strong line. It's not cheap. It's $30 per 100 yards, probably, 3-4 times the price of regular mono. But it's much, much more, has a much longer shelf life, has a much longer longevity life on the reel. A lot of times guys that fish hard with mono re-spool every season, sometimes 2-3 times a season. With fishing the hybrid way with hollow core and mono up top, you can redo those top shots and you're not wasting all of that line, say the middle and bottom, say 1/3 or half, isn't wasted. That hollow core can stay on for seasons. Yes, you can pull it off, you can repack it. That's very smart to do, smart to clean the spool, give a little polish up. But it really doesn't get old. If it chafes, if it gets broken off, you get broken short, something like that, you can splice it. Hollow core line opens up a world of opportunity with splicing, whether you're going hollow to mono in a finger trap fashion, or if you're going to go hollow to hollow. Or you could even do a hollow loop, and then you could put that to any other loop. So hollow core opens up those rigging opportunities, which helps out big time. But also because it has less stretch, can sometimes hurt a little bit. Sometimes you want that stretch to keep the line tight, to have a little bit of belly in the water when you're fighting a fish, to help keep the line tight. An inexperienced angler can drop a tip with hollow core line with too short of a top shot, and you can drop hooks more commonly than a person that would fish straight mono. For that reason, I would suggest, just personal opinion, do not fish a top shot shorter than 100 yards. I would suggest 1 to 150 to 200 yard top shot, but all that depends on what you're doing, the size class of the reel. There's a lot of things that go into it. So if you Tim, this is still on your question, if you want to talk about hollow core rigging, splicing, spooling your reels, reach out, talk to us, and say, hey man, this is what I've got. This is the size rods, this is size reels. This is what I'm targeting. This is size boat. This is what we're doing, and we can point you in the right direction. So thank you for that question. Fishface924 says, hey Cap, just bought a 7-inch Tsunami Carbon 2 from you guys. Used to use St. Croix. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know, man. The Carbon Shield is an awesome rod. I said 7-inch, but you said 7-inch, so I'm kind of confused. But 7 foot, I'm pretty sure. Carbon Shield is a great rod. Awesome guides, awesome build. Very, very clean. They have really good actions, and the price point is phenomenal. It's something you're going to get from Tsunami. You're going to get a very, very good value. Nothing against St. Croix. St. Croix makes some great rods. I was just fishing St. Croix, catching fish on a St. Croix. Yesterday, I had an angler on a boat catching fish with St. Croix rods. St. Croix makes some good stuff. So I don't want to hate on St. Croix, but I'm going to have to say I don't think there's a better value, performance, and price on that seesaw like this, where it balance out with a better value than Tsunami. So shout out to Tsunami. Anybody looking for Tsunami products, we've got a bunch of rods. Just got a pretty large order in just before the holiday weekend. So if you guys need something, we're somewhat fully stocked. There are a few things we're out of. What's the water temps and ship on them? So that's a damn good question. In the bay, I'm going to say it's probably 66, and in the ocean, I'm going to say it's probably 52. Where the local tuna chuck? There were some at 30 line, but there's more recently some fish caught at the 100 line. Don't have the specifics, but that's kind of the generalization. The warning just came up on the Instagram here, kind of telling me I got kicked off, so I'm out of time. Appreciate you guys joining. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the questions. Be sure to check us out, fishermansheadquarters.com, Fisherman's Headquarters on YouTube, Fisherman's Headquarters on Facebook. And you guys got questions, feel free to give us a shout. Let us know. Love to help you guys out. Have a great night. Peace.